So you have been stuck at the same length for what seems like forever, or your hair just gets to a certain length and it just stops. And you tried everything and you're just scratching your head because nothing is working. Let me give you a few tips on the things in your routine that you can change up to get your hair to start growing. You have got to figure out what is needed to be fixed in your routine so you can start seeing some length retention. So stay tuned. Hey guys, it's your girl Tamika, your online hair care teacher, and my mission is to help as many people as possible reach their hair goals. So stay tuned. Today we're going to be talking about what you should do if your hair won't grow. That is a big problem, and I'm here to help you solve your problem and get your hair growing down your back finally. So sometimes it can be like the smallest of things that can prevent you from retaining length, because that's what we want to focus on, because your hair grows all the time. So it's about retaining the hair that grows in. So the ends of the hair tend to be the most fragile and tend to break. And so if you can get like your length retention on point, then you'll start seeing your hair get longer and longer and longer and longer. So one thing I want to say is, if you have products that your hair likes and that your hair thrives and your hair does really well with, go on ahead and stick with those products. Don't jump from hair bandwagon to hair bandwagon and trying to buy the next best thing, because really, in actuality, a lot of times that can backfire and cause your hair to react in a negative way, thus causing issues. So it's one of those situations where if your hair likes it, or if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It just is what it is. And remember that your hair likes routines. So doing the same thing to your hair on a regular basis can really, really, really benefit your hair in the long run. Stop switching it up all the time. Your hair don't like that. It likes to really be left alone. So just remember that. Another thing you can do is to deep condition your hair often. I know a lot of times we tend to kind of shy away from shampoo and deep conditioning day because hair can be a chore. I know I've heard some people say that it takes them all day to do their hair, and a lot of people just don't have that kind of time. So some people, they stretch out their shampoo and deep conditioning day. Like they might want to do it every 2 weeks, but then it winds up being like every 3 weeks or once a month, or maybe some people even run into even longer. But if you put more deep conditioning days in, then that means that you're going to have hair that is more moisturized, hair that is healthier, and hair that is going to retain length. So if your hair is moisturized, that means that you have a better chance of your hair not breaking and being damaged. So deep condition your hair more often. Even if you have to do it once a week, it's going to be really beneficial for your hair care routine, and it's going to help keep your hair moisturized and healthier. That way you can start retaining length. So if you're not doing it, if you're stretching out your shampoos and you have really dry hair, then you need to go on ahead and maybe do it once a week. Or if you're not doing it every 2 weeks, then do it every 2 weeks. But whatever your frequency is, up it. I wouldn't suggest doing it more than once a week, but up your frequency. That way you can start seeing the benefits of having highly moisturized and conditioned hair. Another thing you can do is scalp massages. Just a simple scalp massage 2 to 3 times a week with a scalp massage, or you can do it with your fingertips. Add a little oil on your scalp. 5 to 10 minutes every time you do it. You can do it while you're watching TV. You can do it while you're relaxing. It is so beneficial to the overall health of your hair, and also to help increase growth. So the scalp massages, they get the blood flow going, to your scalp, which increases hair growth and it promotes hair growth. So something so simple can be very beneficial to your hair care routine. So give it a try if you haven't done it already. You'd be surprised at the results that you get from it. I know that a lot of people shy away from this, but I feel like this is so very important to helping you reach your hair goals and helping you get past that plateau. Because if your hair is not growing, if your hair is not retaining length, then you must go on ahead and break down and start wearing protective styles. But not just protective styles, but back-to-back long-term protective styles. Now, I know a lot of people think that putting their hair in back-to-back protective styles will cause breakage or hair fall out or whatever. But if the protective style is done properly and everything else in between, like the care and maintenance of the protective style is done properly and the takedown is done properly, then you shouldn't run into any problems. My customers, when I was doing my customers, I would say probably like 90% of my customers who were in protective styles with me were back-to-back protective styles. And like the results they got from it was just so amazing. And they were amazed too, because, they reached, lengths of hair they had never been able to reach, by just trying to grow their hair on their own. When they went into back-to-back protective styles, that's when we started seeing like the real super results. So when I say back-to-back protective styles, what I mean is you basically put in a protective style, and protective styles, they can be wig braids, they can be weaves, they can be braids like the ones I have in, or something that, gets your hair up and tied away for a couple of months at a time. Like, you shouldn't be wearing your protective style more than like 8 weeks or somewhere around there. But you take it, you put the protective style in, you wear it for 8 weeks, you take it down, you shampoo, you decondition your hair, you prepare your hair, for the protective style, and then you put it back into the protective style. So you only have that gap of when you take it down that your hair is actually out, and then you put it right back into the protective style. And then you do that, for a long period of time. Long periods of time to me are 6 months, a year, 18 months, 24 months, however long it takes to help reach your hair goals. So you might want to give it a try, because that can actually help get you past that plateau that you've been suffering with for such a long period of time. And it's so beneficial because it really just get your hair to a point where you're not really bothering it like that, because our hair likes to be left alone anyway. So if you get it up into back-to-back protective styles, you're not bothering your hair, you're just doing like the maintenance in between, the moisturizing and the conditioning and all that stuff, and you're leaving it alone for long periods of time. And you would be surprised at how much your hair will thrive and grow and retain length. So if you haven't done it, go on ahead and give that a try. I promise you, protective styles, back-to-back protective styles are safe and they work great. Out of all the years that I have done hair, I've had so many customers sit in my chair, and I've had those customers who didn't mind getting their hair trimmed. I had customers who hated getting their hair trimmed, and I had to literally like beg them. I tell you what, a lot of times your hair is not retaining length or not growing is because you're not trimming your hair often enough. I find that a lot of times if you try to go too long without trimming your hair, it kind of backfires, and so you want to have to trim more off as compared to trimming your hair more often. So it's best to go ahead and trim your hair more often, a small amount. That way, you don't lose a lot of hair trying to go long periods of time without trims. Because trims keep the ends healthy. It keeps your hair, from breaking, and, helps you retain length. So if you're trimming more often, then all of the split ends and single strand knots and all those things that will be there later on down the line will be brushed off from a trim. Now, when I say trim, I don't mean that you're cutting off a lot of hair. A trim is a ½ inch or less. But if you're trimming more often, you're not cutting a ½ inch. You're cutting way less than that. So trim more often. Every 3 months, every 4 months. Don't try to go 6, 9 months a year or years without trimming your hair, because push come to shove, like I would say 9.99999 times out of 10, if you prolong your trims too much, you're going to have to cut off more hair than if you had trimmed on a regular maintenance schedule. So don't be scared of trims. Your hair is still going to retain length. They're very beneficial. Give it a try. Another thing I want to say is that whenever you are trying to grow your hair, and if you're stuck like at a place and you can't get past it, or it just seems like your hair is not growing, a lot of times the issue is not your hair just growing. It's about your ends being damaged, and then your hair is kind of like breaking faster than it's growing. And so you wind up in this cycle of grow, break, and you want to get out of the cycle. So a good way to get out of the cycle is to make sure your ends are moisturized and seal your ends. That way they are protected. So when you moisturize and seal your ends, then you're sealing in all of the moisture that you're putting in, and that keeps your ends moist, so they will not break as easily. So if your ends are not breaking, if your ends are not damaged, then you're going to start seeing your hair inch down. But if your ends continue to break, then it's going to seem like you're at the same length. I know a lot of times people will be like, well, my hair grows to my shoulders, and it doesn't get past my shoulders, it stops growing, and your hair doesn't stop growing. So if your hair stopped growing, you wouldn't need to get those relaxers as often as you do. Because remember, new growth comes from the scalp, not from the ends. So be sure to take care of your ends, because they're the oldest part of your hair, and they rub up against everything. They're inner elements all the time, and they need to be protected as much as possible. I would even suggest bagging them up, if you can. I don't know if you guys know about what the baggy technique is. I'll do a video on it a little bit later on down the line, but baggy those ends up, seal and protect them, and you'd be surprised at how soft and supple and moisturized they'll become, and they will not break nearly as much. You can't prevent breakage 100%. It's just not possible, but you can slow that puppy all the way down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so it's all about retaining length. That's what we're talking about. And I know the term is my hair won't grow, but it's not about growing, because your hair grows constantly. It's growing right now as you're watching this video. It's about retaining the the hair that comes in, because the ends of the hair is the oldest part of the hair. So if you're retaining that, then you'll start seeing it inch down. All right. So yeah, that's all I have. Oh, and by the way, if anybody asks me about my shirt, this is a shirt that my son, he designed it himself. He had a graphic designer do it, and he's very proud of it. And I want y'all to go check out his site to go order you one of these shirts. They're amazing. I love it. It's soft, and hey, you can't beat this. Have more faith in your hair too. Okay. Also, any information, I'll put it in the description box below. That way you can read up on that. And if I'm having any classes or webinars or ebooks or anything like that, I'll also put it in the description box below. So go ahead and check that out. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you so much.